Fujifilm presented 3 new cameras at the Photokina. The most important and most interesting model is the X30. You know, the X10 and the X20, and the X30 is a big step up. There are 2 major things which are important. One of this thing is the turnable screen. This is one feature lots of photographers asked for because it's very nice to have this turnable screen. The second one, you see the viewfinder here, and you know the optical viewfinder of the X20. The change at the X30 now is the electronic viewfinder. The X30 has an electronical viewfinder with a resolution of 2.4 million pixel, and so you have a real clear and crisp picture through the electronic viewfinder. In my opinion, the electronic one is better than the old one of the X20, the optical, because you can see the menus in the viewfinder. You have a real good control of everything in the viewfinder. So I like this one very much, and even the high resolution gives you a real good, clear and crisp picture. There are some other features in the camera which are new. There's a new art filter or a new film simulation, classic chrome. And another very important point, that's the new video functions. We have 60p and 50p in full HD resolution, and we have a real high data rate of 36 megabits per second. So this is a very important feature because the video function of the X20 is not really good. So here's a big step up for people who want to make videos with this compact camera. The zoom still goes from 28 to 112 millimeter, 12 megapixel sensor. So this is exactly the same like the X20. We have the Wi-Fi module on board. And one very important feature, you know, there's a ring at the zoom lens to start the camera, and we have a second ring here behind the zoom ring. And this one is very nice because you have a lot of settings, or you can do a lot of settings with this ring. You can change between the different film simulations, art filters, or you can change aperture or shutter speed. And so that's very quick to change the different settings with this ring and the second dial at the back side of the camera. Next model is the X100 T. And the X100 T, the most important feature of this camera is the viewfinder. The viewfinder is a combination of optical and electronic viewfinder. You can change between the optical and the electronic viewfinder. You have a lever here at the front side of the camera. And there's another real nice feature. You can put in the optical viewfinder a small picture-in-picture at the right bottom of the viewfinder, and so you have the control of the sharpness, and you have the control of the image in color and in aperture. And that's a real nice feature of the X100 T. And another one, you have an electronical shutter which goes up to 32,000 of a second. And the electronic shutter is optional to the mechanical shutter in the camera. Lens and APS-C sensor, 16 megapixel, is the same like in the old X100. The third camera is the XT1, and the XT1, the major change between the old one is only the color. You have a different color of the XT1. The old one was black, and the new one has these nice graphic silver or graphite silver is the new color of the XT1. The other things in the camera are exactly the same, but we will get a new firmware update in September, and with this firmware update we get a lot of new interesting functions in the camera. One of the new functions is the electronic shutter. We also get an electronic shutter here in the camera, and the second one is we get the new film functions, also 60p, 50p, so we have also better film functions in the camera, and so that's a real big update, a real big firmware update, which is for the new one and also for the old one. So these are the 3 cameras from Fuji. Most important, the Fuji X30, then the Fuji X100 T, and last but not least, the Fuji X-T1 in the new color. Leica launched the Leica X at the Photokina. The Leica X is a compact camera with an APS-C sensor, 16 megapixel, and a classical layout. At the top of the camera we have the dial for the shutter speed and for the aperture. For focusing we have the focus ring, and a nice feature is you can change between autofocus and manual focusing just by turning the dial a little bit to the AF point, and then you're in autofocus, and at this point you can make the manual focusing. Also on the back side it's a classical layout. We have the four-way button here, the different button for setting the ISO speed and the white balance. And on top of the camera we have not only a flash shoe but for accessories like the electronic viewfinder. That's the electronic viewfinder. And the flash is also a built-in flash. And that's a good thing, but because usually some of the manufacturers, they have only the accessory shoe, and in the accessory shoe you can put either a flash or an electronic viewfinder. If you use the electronic viewfinder here, you still have the internal flash. I like this very much. Another camera at the Leica booth is a camera which is launched in April this year, so it's not a Photokina launch, but I like this camera very much. That's the Leica T. The Leica T is also an APS-C camera, 16 megapixel sensor, but interchangeable lenses. The most important point of this camera for me, it's the backside, because this one is a touch screen, and how Leica interpreted the touch screen is very new, and I like this very much. I show you why. Because you see the big touch screen, you have two dials here on top of the camera, and you can customize these dials. When I'm in M, you see we have one for the aperture and one for the shutter speed. When I change to shutter priority, you can customize these dials very easy. Press the button and now you get the options which function you want on the second dial. Just press the function like ISO setting, that's here, and then you have the ISO setting on this dial. So the work with the touch screen is very easy and very intuitive. If you want to change the program, just press the just press this button and you have the choice between the different programs. You want the scene programs, just press the button and you have the different scene programs to choose from. So that's very intuitive and very nice, and I didn't expect that Leica would bring such a good concept for a touchscreen, because usually the buttons from a camera only go into the touchscreen, but how to work with the touchscreen is exactly the same. It's only a touchscreen and nothing more. It's difficult to say. No wiping. You can do things like this for replay. And so that's, in my opinion, that's very intuitive and a very nice idea to make a touch screen intuitive and a little bit more orientated like an iPhone or like a smartphone. And another feature I like very much is how you put your strap on the camera. I know it's only a little detail, but I like this detail very much, because click and that's it. No hassle with turning, no hassle with how is the right direction. It's just perfect and easy, and you can release it with a small pin here, and then you can release the strap, so that's very easy. That's the Leica T, and here we have the new model from the Photokina, that's the Leica X. Nikon launched two new cameras at the Photokina, starting with a big one, that's the Nikon D750, a full-frame digital single lens camera, DSLR camera with a 24 megapixel sensor. You know that the D610 was coming out a little bit before the Photokina, and the D610 is also a full-frame camera with a 24 megapixel sensor. So, but there are some differences between those cameras. First of all, the D750 has a turnable screen. You can turn it up 90 degrees like this, and can turn it down also almost 90 degrees like this. One important thing is the autofocus module. The autofocus is faster than the one of the D610 and has more AF points. We have 51 AF points at the D750, and also the continuous shooting speed is higher. We go up to 6.5 pictures per second. Maximum ISO is 51,200 in the extended ISO area, and in the normal area we go up to 25,600. We have a built-in Wi-Fi module. That's new, because usually from Nikon you know that you have to put in the external Wi-Fi module, but here at the 750 the Wi-Fi module is built in. The layout of the camera is exactly like all the other DSLRs. We have at the back side the most important buttons for the settings here, like ISO, white balance, and so on. We have the 4-wheel button here, and so the layout is exactly the same like 610 or 810, or like the other professional cameras. On top of the camera we have the program dial here, and the dial for the single shooting, continuous shooting, and self-timer underneath the program dial. On the right side of the camera we have the second display for the most important settings of the camera, and as I showed before, the big turnable display on the back side of the camera. And again, a built-in flash. I like this one very much because it's nice to have a light fill-in flash, and you don't have to use any time a big external flash. You have a little bit fill-in flash here with this one, so this is a real good one. The viewfinder is a 100% viewfinder, so you have the 100% picture in the viewfinder. Very clear, very bright view through the viewfinder. Important thing is the video function. The video function here goes up in the full HD mode up to 50p or 60p, so that's the highest possibility. And the next question is 4K mode. No, sorry, no 4K mode. I expected that the new one would have the 4K mode, but still there's no 4K video, also not in the D750. The next new camera which Nikon launched is this nice small camera. I would say it's a lifestyle camera. Some of the nice feature, or one of the nicest feature, is the turnable monitor. You can turn it up, down, in every direction, and you can make selfies. And now I know, if you look the German video, I didn't know how to turn on the camera. Now I know how to turn on the camera. And here you see Ira, my camera girl. And one thing I should show you, that's the point. You can make a selfie without touching the screen, just only with, I have to turn it on. I hope I can turn it on now. Okay. And now you see how your selfie works without touching the screen. Ira, please. You see there the hand in the middle of the camera, and now she moves the hand up to the camera symbol, and 3 seconds later, here we are with the picture. So you can also make a video while starting this, moving your hand on the display. So that's a real nice and funny feature, I think. And on the back side of the camera we have like a mini tripod. You can move this one out so you can put it on a table like this, or if you want to make a portrait mode also, it's very easy to put the camera in the portrait mode also for selfies. Here we are again with Ira. Say hello to your friends. Yeah, so this is a real nice lifestyle camera. It comes with a 16 megapixel sensor, 12 times zoom, 25 to 300 millimeter. We have full HD mode, but only with the 50i or 60i, sorry. But I think that's enough for a camera like this. Built-in Wi-Fi module for sure. You want to send these pictures to your smartphone or your tablet PC. Some creative filters like panorama, you can make panorama pictures, and you have a glamour filter. So also if you want to make some glamour pictures, this is the right choice for you. So this is the Nikon Coolpix S6900, the new lifestyle camera, and the big one, the Nikon D750 full frame sensor, 25 megapixel. At the Photokina, Sony presented two new cameras. First, the Sony Alpha 5100. You know, the 5000 is a compact camera without a viewfinder, and the 5100 is also without a viewfinder, but there's one very important thing. That's the monitor, the electronic monitor. You can move it up for a selfie function. And one very important point of the 5100, that's the touch monitor. Yes, you heard right. The 5100 has a touch screen. That's the first of the series, of the Alpha series, which had a touch screen. So you have the opportunity to touch focusing, touch shutter release. And in my opinion, it's very good that the camera now has the touch screen. The next important point is the movie function. The 5100 has not only MP4 and AVC HD format, but also the new XAVCS format, which goes up to 50 megabits per second. So you have a real nice and clear, crisp video function in the camera. You still have full HD with 60 and 50p, but on top, as I said, the XAVCS function for real good picture quality. You may know that I fly copters, and in my opinion, this camera is one of the best copter cameras in this small class you can buy, because you have real good video quality with XAVCS. You have the 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, which gives you a real good picture quality. You don't need a viewfinder on the copter, and you have a real compact, small, lightweight camera. You have the nice lenses from Sony, which you can put on the camera, and you have the HDMI live output and the USB connector to remote control the camera on your copter. The second new camera from Sony is the QX1. You may know 1 year ago at the IFA in Berlin, Sony presented two X cameras. The X cameras are actually not real cameras, because you don't have a viewfinder, you don't have a monitor, but you can put the cameras with this part here to your smartphone, or there's a bigger one which you can put on your tablet. And there's a built-in Wi-Fi module, and the complete remote control of this lens goes over your smartphone or over your tablet PC. So you can change aperture, you can change the programs, you see the live build on your tablet or on your smartphone. And what's new at the QX1? New at the QX1 is that you have a camera with changeable lenses. You can use the whole Alpha lenses on this QX1. So you have a APS-C sensor, you have a lightweight camera or add-on to your smartphone, and you can use the whole line of Alpha lenses So you have a real smart, small device which you can take in your pocket, but have the powerful image quality and video quality. So this is the new QX1. The two cameras from Sony, Alpha 5100 and the QX1.